Welcome to Life Experiences with Dr. Amanda. Today we're going to focus on outgrowing people. And so examining our spiritual growth, our spiritual lives should be something that we choose to do on a regular basis because we want to always make sure we're growing in the Lord and that we're going where He would have us to go. We should recognize when people or even things are not expedient for us. And that simply means that they may not be sinful, but they are not helping us or furthering us in our walk with the Lord. So they're not beneficial to us either. You know, I see it kind of like if I drive around in my neighborhood for hours and I keep seeing the same things over and over again. But then that's not sinful. It's not. But it didn't benefit my life at all. Like it wasn't expedient for me. It didn't help me. I could have been doing something else more productive. So that's how I see that when we look at outgrowing people. Sometimes we want to keep those individuals in our lives because, we don't want to hurt their feelings or we don't want to take the time to address the issue. But just like scripture talks about, Jesus was saying if mother or father or anyone who is against this work that I'm doing for the Lord, it's like they don't matter to me. That's how we have to be with outgrowing people. It can't be that we put their feelings or our discomfort, not wanting to deal with them, above our growth in the Lord. And so anyone whose lifestyle includes constantly going against what God has called me to do, it's more than likely better that I keep that individual out of my life, that I close that relationship. Because what's most important to me is what God would have of me. And this is especially important for us when we are newly saved. We are conscious of wanting to still be friends with individuals who are unbelievers. But if those unbelievers do not respect the stand that we now have for the Lord, and they're constantly attempting to get us to do things that they know even may not be sinful, but we're uncomfortable with those things at this point in our lives, then it's better for us to let those individuals go rather than to keep putting ourselves in a place of feeling uncomfortable, which eventually may cause us to be moving to something that's sinful. So once again, not being expedient for our lives. There's a scripture in 1 Corinthians that says, "Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners." And so the longer we hang around with someone who is not doing what they need to do spiritually, that's going to have an effect on us. And why fight trials and battles that we don't have to fight? And there's also a scripture that talks about being unequally yoked. I know a lot of times we think of that being married to someone, but it doesn't specify just being married. It's simply anyone in our lives who we're unequally yoked to. So we have to be very careful that we guard our hearts, we guard our minds, we guard ourselves, so that we can be what God would have us to be. I want to focus on lastly, for myself, I've had the experience of having to somewhat cut someone off. I know years ago, when I was new in my relationship with the Lord, I had a saved friend, but the individual would share or did share things that we talked about personally. So instead of me being hurt and mad constantly and thinking I couldn't trust a person, I decided it was better for me to just not to be close to the person, stop sharing things. And so I outgrew that friendship. I outgrew, that person. And it's okay. It's perfectly fine to do that. So once again, it's not that we're cutting off everyone, but we have to make sure that we are focused on the things God would have us be focused on. And we have to make sure that we don't put ourselves in any unnecessary trials that we don't have to have. Next time I want to move a little bit further on this subject, but I want to focus it on, can my spiritual man handle it? My flesh might say, hey, I can hang out with this person. But can my spiritual man handle it? My flesh might say, hey, you can keep that in your life. But can my spiritual man handle it? So once again, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share with others. And this is a wonderful time, y'all, to be saved, to serve the Lord. Stay blessed.